We're very excited about playing other people. We've been playing against our practice guys for a while and each other, and this team is chomping at the bit to play against someone else. And, we haven't been together that long. There's a lot of new pieces on this team, a lot of new staff members, and I think, just kind of doing the State of the Union of today, I feel like we're in a good place for coming together and only being together for the amount of time we have. I think we have a lot of improvement ahead of us, but I'm very excited about the talent that we have and helping them reach the potential that I think they're capable of.
And speaking of not being together long, and we talked about NIL with Dan and everything. How as a coach, how do you kind of meld all that? Transfer portal, new players coming in, having a lot more roster turnover than there used to be. How do you kind of manage a roster like that?
Not that anyone wanted to see a lot of roster changeover, but I think today, in this day and age, it's something to be expected when there's a turnover in a position. And, I think the thing we need to do is just make the most of it. NIL is a different world than what I came through when I played and for most of my coaching career, but it's something that it's here. We need to embrace it and do the best job we can with it. Yes, it's a different world, but in the same vein, we're still looking for high character kids who work really hard, who have their priorities in the right place. And yes, if they want to capitalize on that, great. But what we hope is that that isn't the number one thing they're looking for. I want them to value an education. I want them to play for a quality program, to want to win and do all the right things. But I don't blame them for wanting to put their toe in those waters as well, because why shouldn't they if they can? And maybe leave college in a much better financial state than maybe kids 10 years ago.
And just as a coach, how do you manage building a team culture, especially as a new coach and a new program? How do you build a team culture when players are able to more freely do it? What's your strategy or philosophy on that?
I've always believed that you pick your problems or you pick your solutions, and we try to pick kids who have their priorities in the right place, staff members that have their priorities in the right place, and I think when you do that, you start in a better place to begin with. The culture of my staff and of my team is the most important thing I do daily, and it's making sure that we keep the main thing the main thing. Yes, NIL is in our world, but I think it's so important that we worry about helping them get good grades and be in class every day and be a great student. Help them be a great teammate and a great leader, and embark on all those things that are the most important things and should be number one. But then, if there's opportunities for them available, because this city offers so many, hopefully that helps us get a leg up so that when we're recruiting, we can sell all the opportunities in Miami as well, and hopefully that does give us an advantage because this city offers so much.
Tricia, I want to ask you, how has the job been different being a coach in Miami, in the ACC, compared to being in the Midwest in Toledo, where you came from? You're still a coach, but what's different?
Well, I'll start with what's the same. Basketball is basketball. I'm still teaching very similar things that I would be if I was back in my old institution. I think, maybe what's different is the ability to go get a bigger, stronger, faster kid when I go recruiting, to go recruit nationally because we have a budget to do that, to go put together a staff that has incredible experience because we have the budget to do that. And I'm sure as we get into, I'm used to being on long bus rides. That's not going to be the case anymore. We have the means to travel and to treat our players, to help them take care of their bodies better as we travel. And those games are a lot further apart than maybe what I'm used to. But I think there's a lot of similarities. I think what's different is who we can hire and who we can go recruit and how we can travel and how we do our business, because we do have a bigger budget. But I'll be honest, I think it still comes down to working hard, putting people in the right places, and everybody working cohesively together. And I do think that all comes back to culture. And that's why a lot of times this year you're going to hear me talk about it. When we recruited and when we signed this last class, and as we blend the players that were incoming, the ones that remained, and the kids that we signed, it's all about culture. We've spent a lot of time working on that.
I want to ask, going to basketball now, I want to ask the interior game. I mean, I think people around here are familiar with the guards, with seeing the Cavender twins and Jasmine Roberts and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about Natalia, Cameron? How is this team going to look different size-wise and the way you guys play?
Cameron Williams is one of the best post players I've ever had an opportunity to coach. And that says a lot because I've coached some that were pretty talented even if they were at the mid-major level. She can score with her right or left hand. She's very physical. She runs the floor really well. She's strong. She's very smart. And she reads things really well. I also think she's a great leader. When we voted for captain, she got more votes than anyone. And I think that says a lot about her because she came in here as someone that not a lot of people knew. And so she won them over very, very quickly. But you can tell why. She sets a great example every day. She's very caring. She's putting her arm around the younger kids, teaching them what to do. But I love the fact she can score in a variety of ways and with both hands. Sometimes you get a post player and they have a dominant hand or a dominant move. Cam, you know, the post is her oyster, and she can do with it what she can. I think our big thing is putting her in positions to score and putting her in positions to do what she does without much help coming. And the beauty of that is I have great three-point shooters to surround her with. And when you have a post player, you hope that that's the case because you don't want a lot of traffic in there for her. Natalia is a rim runner. I'm going to be challenging her to try to go get 3 or 4 rim runs every game. She can run with our guards when we run sprint. She's very, very quick. You know, she can face up. She's very good, I would say, confidently 15 to 17 foot right now, but can hit a 3. You know, but she is someone that can put the ball on the floor and drive right past you. A lot of kids in her position can't guard her, and she's 6'4". So there's going to be opportunities, even when the two of them are in together, that we post them both up and we face them both up. But I love their skill level, and I love their IQ. Both of them are just a joy to work with because their work ethic is phenomenal. That's why they're both captains. And, you know, they really pick up things quickly.
Did you have relationships with them before? How did they come here?
My Toledo team played Michigan the last 2 years, so I was very familiar with Cam. Probably the only reason why we beat them both years was because we doubled and triple teamed Cam, because I have that much respect for her. And then we scrimmaged Notre Dame last year in a closed-door scrimmage, so I knew Natalia. And I was very familiar with the Notre Dame program and had watched them play a lot. And so, you know, again, kind of knew her from afar, where Cam I felt like I knew a little bit more close up from having competed in games against her the last 2 years.
Can you talk a little bit about the decision to bring back the Cavender twins to Miami, what their branding around the country means to the program, and then also where they are as basketball players?
Yeah, number one's a no-brainer for them to come back. When they showed interest of wanting to be here, it's a no-brainer for a lot of reasons. Number one, they're 2 of the hardest workers I've ever coached, and I'll say even played with. I'll go even further, and that's saying a lot because I played with some All-Americans. They're in the gym early almost every morning, blowing up my staff, asking them if they can get extra shots up, watch film. They have an extreme hunger to want to be better. And they set the bar really high for the rest of my players. And I think it's great for my incoming freshman class, who was ranked 18th in the country, to see 2 kids that, you know, have a lot of press about them. People know who they are, but they're the hardest workers. When your best players are your hardest workers, you have something special, and with them we have that. They're both extremely skilled. They can shoot the 3 pass, they can drive, they can hit a pull-up. They bust their tails defensively. I will say at times we're probably going to have to bring some double teams if people try to post them up, which I would if I was going against us. So we've already started working on that to hide that. But they're great teammates. They just want to win, and I think they're very good communicators. They're very good leaders. They are people who will run through the wall for you. I love coaching them, you know, and I'm so glad they're here because as you try to establish culture, work ethic, being a great teammate, being a great leader, that's who they are. And I don't have to look at something in a book to show my team or a video. I can just point to them.
And the branding for you on the national...
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think one of the big missions that we have is to build our attendance. And, you know, I joked with them when I got here. I said, you bring the young people and I'll bring the old people. Because obviously we have a lot of retired people that have moved down here and are in this area that are more my age bracket. But they do identify with a lot of people who are younger. You know, I laugh. We went to the Race for the Cure this past Saturday in Hialeah, and you would be surprised how many people flock to them to get a picture and to meet them. And that's awesome. Young kids that just want to meet them because they followed them on social media. And I love that their generosity and their willingness to, you know, sign an autograph, take a picture, talk to people. Because, you know, they get hit up all the time. But I love that about them, and I love the exposure that they can bring our program by their following. And I think as people get to know them even better, they're going to want to support us even more.
Does that have an
Yeah, definitely. I think if you ask some of the kids that we signed in this class, they will tell you that Haley and Hannah played a big part in them wanting to say yes and want to be here, because they were very committed to our program and they wanted to play with great kids, and they were actively trying to help us recruit as well.
Coach, there's a lot of new faces on this team. Just this offseason, what were some of the things that you look for that you really place some importance in when constructing this roster, and then how has this team really gelled and come together throughout preseason practices?
I think as we were piecing the roster together, I think it was really important that we signed some post players, because that was something where we were lacking. I tell you, Cam waited till the 12th hour to get a hold of me. She called me right before the shutdown. I was starting to be really nervous about our depth at the post, and then thank goodness she committed right before the shutdown period. That was like a gift. It was like manna falling from heaven, because we needed her so bad. And I was thrilled that she said yes. I think balance is what we were looking for, having an inside-outside punch, being able to score from the perimeter, drive, and throw it in the post and score. If you have multiple ways to score, you're hard to stop. And we have multiple people that could have a 20-point game. So that makes it difficult to stop one person and stop all of us. We do have some kids that I think could put up some really big numbers in different games, but I love the fact that we have 5 people on the floor that you've got to guard all of us. And we want a team that's skilled, that doesn't beat itself, meaning we make our free throws, we don't turn it over, we're stingy defensively, we hustle, we out-hustle people for loose balls and rebounds. I think I was looking for people who are very hungry to do all the little things that help you win.
You talk about the strength of the ACC. Can you sort of give a scouting report of what, again, there's so many changes in college basketball. It's hard to scout, preseason. I don't even know what we know about changes, but what would you say about the ACC?
Well, I think right now when you look at the top, you look at NC State, you look at Duke, you look at Notre Dame, just right off the top of your head. I think Louisville's going to be really good. Duke is going to be really good. I think when you look at the poll, it's pretty indicative. I will say you can't put that in stone for anybody, including us, of where they think we could be. I always laugh at the polls when they come out every year because you just never know. And you're right, there are a lot of new faces. The one thing that I will say is, and with Clemson, with Poppy, and with Virginia Tech with their hire, they made great hires. They're great coaches that have proven themselves. It's not going to be easy anywhere we play, and that's why it's so important that we work on consistency, showing up every day. It's why it's important that we work on our health so we stay healthy, because we can't afford injuries. We need to make sure that we're strong. Our strength and conditioning coach, I'd put her against anyone. She does a phenomenal job. Bree's one of the best. So I think all those things are so important that we stay on top of them, because we want to be our best every day. And then I've got to manage our legs as best I can, because there will not be an easy game, not one. But we're excited about it. But we also signed up for this. This is why everyone wants to be in the ACC and they want to compete at this level. This is why the ACC had so many teams in the NCAA tournament. We could make the argument Miami should have been in last year. But I think that speaks alone of how strong this league is, and I think it only got better with the addition of Stanford, Cal, and SMU, and especially Stanford. When you look at their storied history, you add them to the mix we already have, it's an unbelievable league.